Fargo, where they said there's no interest for 18 months if you're approved. So you fill out an application online through Wells Fargo. They have a thing with Wells Fargo. And no matter what they do is whatever it costs, they divide that by 18 months.
Yeah.
So there's no interest for 18 months. So let's say that's 12 something. That payment is $720 something. And for me, I'm wondering if I'm stretching it a bit. I don't know what to do. That's pushing it.
Yes, I see. That makes sense. What is the amount of your car payment right now?
The car payment is $300. Well, I paid $300, but it was like $283.
Okay. And how much do you assuming you're still making the car payment, because you are now, how much do you typically have left over at the end of the month in a typical month? Anything?
Yes. At the end of the month, that was I think I have like $1,400. I don't want to lie because I had that all of my paperwork, which is not in front of me. But I think I have like $1,400.
All right, so then, I like this a lot. I mean, I would do a lot of checking online, look for as many reviews as you can on this sliding glass door company before you go ahead. But assuming that checks out, maybe you get one more bid, with somebody who'd be recommended. Maybe you find a general contractor in your church who can make a referral to you to a sliding glass door company that he or she's worked with and get a third bid. But assuming you determine this is a reputable company with good reviews, I like the idea of you doing the $12,400 over 18 months with zero interest. I just make sure you pay that amount in full every month, and you should have that because not only do you have $1,200 or $1,300 a month extra, you're about to have $300 more when you pay off the car. So I think that all makes sense to me, Georgia.
Okay, so because I'll have with the car payment being paid off, I'll have like $1,800. So that means that having to pay them almost $700 a month, my disposable income now would be just $800 left over.
Right, but you've still got a healthy emergency fund of more than 7 months' expenses. You're debt-free except your mortgage. You still got, another $800 a month in surplus that you can add to your savings or your car replacement fund if you do that. And, 18 months from now, you'll have new sliding glass doors and you will have paid no debt or no interest.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. God bless you. Thanks for calling. Let's stay in West Palm Beach, actually. Peter's driving down the road, and do I understand this correctly, Peter? Is today your retirement day?
Yeah, I just called up today. I spoke to the guy, but I forgot to ask him the question that I want to ask you.
All right.
I'm 65 and a half, so I made it there. But the only point is, I'm going to continue to work, and I want to know if I continue to work, does the Social Security still go up a little bit more as I work until 70, I think, right? That's the number.
Yeah, so you haven't taken Social Security, is that right?
Yeah, we're taking it. I should have it checked in about a week, about a month, I guess.
Okay, well, as soon as you start taking your benefit, it locks it in. So if you had decided to wait and not take it, and you may not have had that choice, I understand you retired today, but if you had not taken it, it would have continued to grow at 8% a year until age 70. So now that you've taken it, the only way for it to continue to grow would be two. Number one is the cost of living adjustment. It happens every year. This year, I think it's 3.4%, going into 2024. So the cost of living adjustment will increase it. That's going to happen whether you work or not. The other way is if you do continue to work and your earnings that you pay FICA taxes on for that year that you're continuing to work is higher than any of your high 35. So your Social Security is based on your highest 35 years of earnings. If your new earnings moving forward are higher than any of those high 35, it'll drop that off and replace it, and that'll push your check up as well. So those are the two ways. Hey, congratulations on your retirement. We'll be right back. Thanks to Certified Kingdom Advisor Wade Chessman, President and Wealth Advisor, and his team at Chessman Wealth Strategies in Dallas for their support of faith and finance. Their goal is to help their clients expand their understanding of biblical financial principles and how to implement them. The website is chessmanwealth.com. The phone number is 214-572-2120. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
So Hannah, she's just one of the women who did kids struggle with infertility in the Bible.
Hannah's Heart with Ann Cockrell and Kendra White.
Hannah took her pain to God, and God heard her and was with her.
Hannah's Heart helps couples process infertility and miscarriage through a biblical lens. Join us Saturday afternoon at 5 Central on American Family Radio. Find the podcast at afr.net.
Absolutely free. We know you've learned to be suspicious of those words, but really, you can get biblical financial wisdom delivered to your inbox each week absolutely free. Articles, videos, podcasts, and special offers on biblical resources. Nearly 60,000 people receive our free weekly wisdom email, and you can too. Create your free FaithFi account by going to faithfi.com and click sign up to begin receiving weekly wisdom in your inbox. We are grateful for support from Sound Mind Investing in the Faith and Finance program. If you have money in a retirement account or just a general investing account, you know the stock market can sometimes seem like a roller coaster. But it is possible to enjoy both profit and peace of mind in investing, no matter what's happening in the market. You can see a short video webinar on that topic at soundmindinvesting.org. Since 1990, Sound Mind Investing has sought to offer financial wisdom for living well. soundmindinvesting.org.
Great to have you with us today on Faith and Finance on American Family Radio. Here in our final segment today, let me remind you once again, we're away from the studio, so don't call in, but we lined up some great questions. Well, it's been a Florida day. We're going to Lake Worth. Hey, Bruce, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for all that you do. And my question is, paying my bills by check or by, through the bank. The issue is that, my kids are telling me you're crazy to write checks. There's all that information on the check. And so I'm old school, almost 70. I've always written checks, but I guess, do I need to get with the new program and go online and pay?
Yeah, I love that your kids are telling you, come on, Dad, you're still writing checks. What are you doing? That's great. I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Because there's a safety factor in those not going through the mail. Now, we'll talk about that in a second, because just because you do bill pay doesn't mean it's not going through the mail in some cases. But there's this kind of other risk that you run by doing business online, which is, somebody can compromise your account and hack in and those kinds of things. So let's talk about how you approach this. With online bill pay, you've got really two options. If the bank has the ability to do a direct transfer with your particular, let's say, utility company, and when you go to set up your bill pay, it'll tell you whether you can do an electronic payment and even receive your bills direct into the bank's website, then you're right. You would avoid the check going through the mail, which prevents the ability for somebody to get a hold of that envelope and access your account number and your routing number. But in many cases, the people you would be issuing bills payments to through your bank on their website, they don't have a relationship with, and so then rather than you just writing the check and putting it in the mail, they're generating the physical check and putting it in the mail. It's still traveling through the mail, and it's arriving at the destination, the vendor or the contractor or utility company that you're paying. So it doesn't automatically eliminate that possibility of somebody intercepting that envelope, although it would certainly reduce the number of checks that are being sent, because again, some of them may be able to be paid electronically. Now, if you do this, then you need to also use best practices with regard to just doing business online, period. And that means don't use public Wi-Fi when you're logging into your bank. So you wouldn't want to do that from the coffee shop. You'd want to do it at home. And you'd want, the WAP encryption, which you would typically have with, typical internet service provider. You'd want to have a good, strong password and change that regularly. I mean, there's going to be some things you want to do just to be safe online. But yeah, I like the idea of you getting online and doing this, because it will reduce the number of physical checks being mailed. And I think what you'll find, Bruce, is even though there's a learning curve, so many of these things can be paid automatically. So you set it up once, and you may want to monitor it, but you're going to recoup maybe an hour or two of your time every month write out those checks because there's a lot that can be automated at the same time. Does that all make sense?
Yes, it does. I appreciate that advice. Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, God bless you. Thanks for listening to the program. We appreciate it. Let's go to Indiana. Randy, go ahead, sir.
I have roughly, between my giving and product that I'm holding to donate to Salvation Army, we have potentially about $25K for donation. If we held it till after the year end and then donate it after January 1st, we would like to make these donations then. My wife is very concerned that we may be audited because going through an audit process is very long and draining. So she's very leery about itemizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been donating for probably 30 years to Salvation Army, but we have extra items to donate. So I'm concerned with her concern.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you're trying to alleviate your wife's concern, and that may be the reason you need to do this. Now, if you were to just ask me without telling me your wife was concerned, should you be, perhaps change what you were going to do in terms of your giving this year to stay under the standard deduction, I'd say no. I mean, even though 80 to 90% of taxpayers take the standard deduction, the fact that you're just bumping up against it and slightly above it, is that going to trigger an IRS audit, especially since this is a charity that you've been giving to for a long time? It's not like you're contributing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, you're barely above the joint filer threshold, and you're going to have all the documentation to back it up, when you send it in. So I wouldn't be concerned about it triggering an audit. Could it? Well, of course. And I'm not going to say that there's no way that you're going to be audited. And if, again, she's concerned about it and is going to lose even a bit of sleep over it, then just don't do it. Just wait until the following year. But I would just say, from my perspective, I don't think this really increases your risk at all of an audit by you just being slightly above the standard deduction. 10% plus is upwards of 20% of taxpayers take the itemized deduction, and that's what it's there for.
Okay. Very good.
All right.
Well,
Thanks for your call. You're welcome, sir. God bless you. Thanks for your being on the program today. Let's go to Naples. Sylvester, go ahead. How can I help?
Hi, well, thank you for taking my call. My question is, I contribute 50% to my employer to a 401k. It's a raw 401k. And I just listened to your show, and you say it's probably better to split that, like do a little bit to a traditional, some of them to raw. How's that work?
Yeah, potentially, and here's why. Because we don't know what's happening to the tax rates in the future. Because when you're going to be pulling this money out, it's going to be down the road. I don't know how far away you are from retirement, but tax rates could be higher, could be the same, could be lower, probably not, but they could be. And we don't know what your income's going to be in retirement. So if you want to do some reading on this, let me direct you to soundmindinvesting.org. soundmindinvesting.org. What you'll see there is an article that I discussed recently with Mark Miller, who took a deep dive into this topic. The article is titled, "Should You Use a Roth IRA, a Roth account, even if you prefer traditional?" And he's really exploring this topic of why would you want to put in Roth after tax versus the traditional, or does it make sense to have both? And the conclusion, based on some researchers that really studied this in thousands of cases, came up with this formula, and it's just a rule of thumb, that's all it is. But the formula was that based on their studies, that you take your age, you add 20 to it, and that's the percentage that you should put into the pre-tax version, and then you put the balance in your after-tax or Roth version. So if you're 50 years old, you take 50, you add 20 to it, that's 70. You put 70% in the pre-tax and 30% in the after-tax. And the idea that you have these two buckets to pull from, depending upon the tax code, your income, how you're giving charitably, all of these factors gives you the most flexibility to do it in a way that minimizes taxes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You actually have a 50, so I'm right there.
Hey, come on. That was in amazing I did that.
Right? But I always find like because you accumulate all this, interest, the compound interest through all these years, so it's better to keep it as a Roth instead of do traditional, because that way you don't have to pay any taxes on it. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's certainly, I mean, you can make a case for that, especially when you're younger. The offset to that, though, is that you're probably in the peak of your earnings potential right now in, kind of this second season of your working life, and you're probably paying a good bit in taxes, and so you may benefit more from the tax deduction now at age 50 than you would from, paying the taxes now because your income is going to be a lot lower in retirement. So I think you should check out this article at soundmindinvesting.org, and it'll help you think through this a little better. Hey, God bless you, Sylvester. Thanks for calling today. Quickly to Indiana Gregory. You'll be our final caller. Go ahead.
Yes. I own my own home. I'm in my 80s. I just sold some real estate. I have been invested real estate since early 70s.
Okay.
And I sold the properties for about $750,000. And I wish I would have given it more thought before I sold it, because I found other investment properties that I wanted to get into, but I didn't file the proper form to qualify for it.
Okay. How long ago did you make that sale, Gregory?
It was in August.
In August. Okay, yeah. I'm afraid that window has passed. So it's called a 1031 exchange, and it's where you take the proceeds from the sale of a property with capital gains, and you roll it into another like-kind property, so another investment property, and then you can essentially defer the capital gains by rolling 100% into this next property, and then at some point you'd have to pay the capital gains. But if you keep investing it in a like-kind property, you can defer that recognition of the gain. The problem is the rule says you've got to declare your intention to do this within 45 days from the sale, and you have to complete the sale for the new property within 180 days. And if you're beyond the 45 days, then you wouldn't be able to declare that intention, unfortunately.
Okay.
Let's do this. I want to help you answer the rest of your questions, but I'm out of time. So you stay right there. We'll talk off the air, Gregory. Thanks for your call today. Folks, that's going to do it for us. We're out of time today. Let me say thanks to my team, Jim Henry, Devin Patrick, Robert Youngblood. Couldn't do this without them. Thank you for being here as well. And the Lord bless you as you manage His money according to His principles. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG Greenville, Dallas. Blogging, hashing it out.
Expression.
Let's talk. The Stand, a blog for religious freedom, to promote Christian values and to expose attacks on the American family. The Stand is a wall of defense and a beacon of light to those in danger. Lift your voice. Visit afa.net/The Stand. That's afa.net/The Stand. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, almost 2 p.m. The Israeli Defense Forces continue to expand their ground operations in Gaza. Trey Yingst has the latest from southern Israel.
Israeli forces are reportedly surrounding 3 separate hospitals in the northern part of the Gaza Strip, where they say Hamas militants are hiding. Here along the northern part of Gaza, we've been watching as the Israelis renew their strikes. Israel says 37 of their soldiers in total have been killed in the battles since the ground portion of this operation began. Israel pushed deeper into Gaza. They say they were targeting Hamas's elite Nukba forces that participated in the October 7th massacre. They say they killed a number of company commanders and also platoon commanders from Hamas who were in part responsible for that slaughter of civilians in early October.
The House Republican investigation into the Biden family business dealings with foreign nationals continues. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer accuses the Justice Department of trying to obstruct the investigation.
The amount of interference by Biden and his followers is unprecedented in this case, yet we continue to provide new evidence almost on a daily basis of major criminal wrongdoing by the Biden family, and at the center of this was President Joe Biden.
As the Republican presidential campaign continues, a life expert disagrees with one candidate on the life issue. Charlie Butts reports.
During this week's Republican presidential debate,
先生、博雅の先生、うまいかね、教えんの。
いや、俺にはいいよ。スローだから。
マッキンニーの方がうまい。ペルーの先生の方が。
ペルーの方がうまいよ。
男だからさ、ちょっと気がつかないところもあるんだろうね。ざっくばらんで。ざっくばらんで。いい人だよね。ロトさんにいつも挨拶するの？挨拶するのいつも。
挨拶するよ。
あ、向こうから。いい人だよ。
手を挙げて挨拶するよ。いつも。
Convicted killer Brent Brewer was given a lethal injection last evening for stabbing a man to death in Amarillo 33 years ago. In his final statement, Brewer expressed remorse for the murder and said to the victim's family, "I could never figure out the words to fix what I have broken, and I hope you find peace." The execution, which took about 15 minutes, came hours after the Supreme Court refused to hear his last-minute appeal that his death sentence was based on questionable testimony from a forensic psychiatrist. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
More news online at afn.net and the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Keith.
Forget about Facebook. The last 10 days we've been banned twice, and is unbanning a word? They put us under the ban. Christians and conservatives don't need your YouTube. Banned one day, banned again.
AFR programs are now live streaming on the AFA streaming app. Now you can get shows like today's issues straight from the source.
Put back on the next.
Just say unbanned.
Unbanned.
Just search AFA streaming or visit streaming.afa.net to sign up. This is Trivia Friday. The number to call with your question or your answer to a question is 888-589-8840.
That's one man poo.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Get out of here.
Wait, a chicken has an earlobe?
The color of the earlobe?
Well, how else are they going to wear earrings?
That's why, you never saw Dick Clark and Fidel Castro at the same time. Trivia Friday, right here on American Family Radio. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
JJ Jasper.
Great to be here. Fella said, my father always said, when one door closes, another door opens. He was a wonderful dad, but a lousy cabinet maker. That's good. I like it. All right. That's a good way to start us off.
Who always said?
This fella said his dad always said, when one door closes, another door opens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Wonderful father, terrible cabinet maker. Hey, happy birthday to our oldest daughter, Lauren. Today's her birthday. She's a staff writer for The Stand, American Family Radio, American Family Association.
Congratulations.
Yeah, for making it this long.
She's got 2 children.
2 children, 2 boys. She made us grandparents.
Yeah. And her husband's almost an adult. You know, Harrison's here.
Yeah. What do you mean almost an adult?
I was just kidding.
No.
He's a friend, so I guess.
Yes, that's right.
I'm just saying she's got 3 children in her home.
Oh, yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
If you've got a
It's a
husband, the moms and wives,
It's
they
a
know
joke.
that.
All right, Trivia Friday it is on American Family Radio. So what's today? November the something?
It's November 10th. Tomorrow, Veterans Day, so a lot of celebrations today, maybe Monday, parades, things happening at school where the veterans are honored. So thank you, those of you that have served and currently wear the uniform. We salute you, and I know thank you isn't enough, but we do want to say thank you.
All right, what's Trivia Friday? You want to lay some of the ground rules out here?
Sure, I'll lay down some ground rules. I like doing that, laying down the rules. Or laying down the law. That's what I did in my house. My kids were growing up. They loved it. They loved it when Dad laid down the law. Okay, here are the rules, folks. This is Trivia Friday, so we're going to have trivia questions for you. That's right, for you. 3 questions each. You call in to answer one, and we ask that you ask us one. Challenge us. You know, bring it. Bring the heat. And here's the number to call if you want to get on this here show. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. The only rule we have